How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Deliberate Millionaire Stream. Such a pleasure to be here with you as always. Tell me where you're streaming in from. I want to know. Okay, so today we're looking at the fact that you grew up a heck of a lot sooner than you're supposed to have grown up. Okay, before you were ready to be grown up, you were forced, you were pushed into a life that was actually a bit older than you, and now to this day you still put your life on hold for all the other people that you feel responsible for. That's what this stream is about today. I'm Rosemary Nonny Knight. I am the prosperity minister, and I am a business coach, and I support ambitious spiritual people to thrive, to prosper, to make at least six figures whilst living in their purpose, to leave behind the pain, the limiting beliefs of the past, and to rise victorious in your true design life. Your true design life. And it is completely defined by you. It is a free, fulfilled, financially abundant, a love drenched life. If you will claim it, okay? And everything I talk about in these things is to support you in claiming your true inheritance, okay? Again, we're looking at the fact that you grew up before you were ready to, and now you're still putting your life on hold for people that you feel responsible for. And it's time for you to find a way out of living this smaller than what you're supposed to be living life and step into your true design. We'll start with our affirmation for this week, which is I am already loved. I relax because I'm already loved. I am free to be me. It's quite relevant for what we're talking about today, but we'll start by singing that and then we'll get into our conversation around being way too grown up. I am already loved. I relax because I'm already loved. I am already loved. I relax because I'm already loved. I am free to be me. I am free to be me. I am free to be me. I relax because I'm already loved. I am free to be me. I am free to be me. I am free to be me. I relax because I'm already loved. And that's our affirmation for this week. I am already loved. Love always kind of sounds a little bit wimpy, particularly depending on how you were grown up or how you were brought up. But actually, love is the most powerful energy on this planet. Okay, that allowing yourself to feel loved by the divine will dissolve all the nonsense, all the blocks, all the whatever is getting in the way of you creating the life that you want. But sometimes your ideas about what the divine is, your religion or whatever, can really get in the way of that. But we'll talk about that some other day. For today, you are already loved. You are free to be you. Who knows when last you were actually you? Okay. You are that person who had to grow up a lot sooner than you might have been first, you might have been second child. It doesn't matter. You grew up. It's like I was second child in my family. And there was a sense of having to grow up, take care of my brothers who were 6 and 8 years younger than me. Having to grow up a lot sooner than I wanted to. I became a parent, is the way it felt to me. Um, a lot sooner than I wanted to be. Okay. But I thought that was the only way to live. I thought I had to do it. Okay. Um, I thought I had to do it. And for some of y'all, that's how you feel too. But the problem for you now is that you're so conditioned into thinking that you need to lay down your life for every single other person out there. Okay. And so you don't allow yourself to fully live in your purpose. You don't even allow yourself in some ways to discover what your purpose is because you're worried that you're going to go too far forward and leave everyone else behind, and you feel completely responsible for their well-being, and you feel that it is noble, it is right for you to put yourself down, to put your agenda down and allow everybody else's agenda to take over your life. Okay, you've been doing this forever. You don't even realize that you've been doing this forever, except you kind of do, because there's this little sense of resentment inside of you, but you don't ever want to focus on that because there's part of you that thinks you're not supposed to feel resentful. You're not supposed to feel guilty. Well, no, you're not supposed to be so selfish as to want to put your life ahead of anybody else's. And you're not even, it's not that you're wanting to put your life, or it's not that I'm asking you to put your life ahead of anybody else's. I'm asking you to make your life as important as everybody else's, because that's what you haven't been doing. You've been making everybody else's life more important than yours. You've been making your life considerably insignificant, in fact, in the face of all the trials and troubles and dramas and the craziness that everybody else is going through. You keep putting your life down as though you have no trials, you have no troubles, you have no drama, you have nothing. You keep living everybody else's life for them instead of your own. This is self-betrayal, my love. This is self-betrayal. And sometimes you hear this cry inside of you to help, to help, to help, to help. I can't tell you the number of people who get on the phone with me and tell me how their whole life is just about helping people. And I know, though they may not, that some of the cry of their heart to help people is actually the cry of their feminine energy to be noticed, to be heard, to be taken care of. But they are interpreting that internal cry as the cry of everybody around them that needs their attention. And they don't take time, and maybe you don't take time to actually sit with yourself and figure out, but what do I want? You don't have time for that. You're so busy in everybody else's life that you haven't really taken time to figure out who you are. There's just this emptiness, this ongoing drained feeling, this going through the motions kind of feeling that you've started to live with, and you've lived with for quite a while, and you just think that's just life. But it's because you have been ignoring yourself for a very long time. You have been telling yourself that you do not matter for a very long time. You don't necessarily see it that way, but that is what you are doing. When you make everybody else a priority over you are literally saying that I am not as important as everybody else. This is, as I say, self-betrayal. You think self-sacrifice is always noble. It's not. Sometimes, in fact, self-sacrifice is just a way of you hiding from your own life as you distract yourself with everybody else's life. You do it for a good cause, but you forget that it's because you were programmed from a very young age to disregard yourself, to grow up sooner than you were ready to. Did you really have a childhood? Did you really have a teenage period? Really? Or were you forever taking care of your younger siblings, maybe even your parents, because they were having issues of their own for whatever those issues were, and you had to step up and start taking care of people that should have been taking care of you. And now, again, you're so programmed into this, you do not realize that there's something wrong with it. You do not realize that forever you have been betraying yourself, because you don't even think like that, because you've been programmed to lay down your life for everybody else. And even if you go to a religious organization, sometimes they're even telling you to do this, not realizing that sometimes this is just plain old codependency. And codependency is it's a disease that steals people's destiny. Okay? Your destiny, your purpose, you have to choose it. You have to very actively decide that you are important enough to live in your purpose. It's all right with me talking about that I help you thrive and prosper in your purpose and make at least 6 figures and blah, blah, blah. But if you haven't allowed yourself to even admit that there is a purpose, well, you know that there is one. You know that there's something that you're particularly here called to do. But you think it is just to keep helping everybody around you. Except it's not. And so as much as you're giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving of yourself all of the time, it doesn't fill the emptiness inside of you. If anything, it makes you feel even more drained. It makes and resentful that you're trying to ignore that resentment because you think it's bad of you to feel so resentful. You're supposed to sacrifice your life. You're supposed to lay down your life for everybody else. So you think. But again, what this does, as you are so concerned with everybody else's drama, is that you are not concerned enough with your own life. You are distracted by everyone else's life. It is not noble to always put yourself last. In fact, you are doing the people that you're even serving a disservice because you're enabling them to think that they are weak when actually they are not. Okay? When will you finally allow yourself to live to the fullness of your potential? When will you even allow yourself to be happy? For ages, I really felt that happiness was not something to aim for. And some of y'all might still think that. You might think happiness is just an empty emotion, and it's, deep joy is what we're looking for. But you're not even feeling deep joy. Let's be honest here. Because again, you are betraying yourself over and over and over again. And somehow you think that by betraying yourself, you will somehow get to some holy land where the divine is going to look at you and think, oh, yes, my beautiful servant, you have done well. And now coming to the perfect rest. It's a lie. It's not going to happen, my love. You are continually disregarding yourself, betraying yourself, and there is no reward for that. There is no reward for it. Let me be very clear here. There's no reward for it. You've even noticed that sometimes the people you lay down your life most for are the ones that will stab you in the back. Now, we do not do things to get anybody's approval or to get their accolades or whatever. However, you have noticed this, that sometimes the very people that you have given the most to are the very people who will betray you first. Because it wasn't your rightful place. They are simply doing what they do. So you may feel betrayed and hurt while still throwing yourself at them and trying to be all things to all people. But it's because you are off your path. They're getting on with their life. Are you done with putting yourself down all of the time? Are you done with enabling people to think that they are weak because you are forever standing up for them, forever being everything to them, so they never have to step up? This may be children, this may be siblings, this may be parents, this may be friends, this may be bosses, it may be anybody. That role you played in childhood of being the caretaker and being the peacemaker, you are now still playing it in all of your relationships. It's just playing out in all different places everywhere. And it's eating up your energy. So no, you don't always know what your purpose is because you don't even have the energy to think about it because you are busy spreading yourself so thin everywhere else. People are not weak. Okay? I really need you to hear this. Everyone is created in the image and likeness of the divine. Everybody's as powerful as you. You may be teaching them and training them to feel weak because you are forever helping and being everything to everybody. It's time for you to step back. It's time for you to start paying attention to your life and allow them to pay attention to their own. Okay? Everyone is made in the image and likeness of God. Everybody's powerful in their own right. It's not just you. You are not a savior of the world. Enough with this martyr complex where forever you are sacrificing yourself for the benefit of everybody else in your life. Stop betraying yourself continually. For real. This isn't just me talking at you. This is real. And you know it is because it resonates in your heart that I'm done with this. But are you though? Are you in enough pain? Are you suffering enough to finally start paying attention to you? Like I said, your feminine, your inner child has been so pushed down, and your inner, your disconnected masculine energy has taken over because that's what you've had to do forever. I get it, but enough. It is time for your feminine and your masculine, your inner child, your inner adult to become one. Your inner child is screaming out for attention. And I know this can seem a woo and whatever. So, if those terms don't necessarily resonate with you, forget that. But it's the same principle though. Something inside of you wants to be heard. In the meantime, whilst this thing inside of you is screaming out for your attention, you think it's people outside of you that need your attention. And so you think it is noble to keep giving and giving and giving to them. You think it is your calling, but it doesn't fulfill you. If anything, it drains you. Come on, notice. You can't keep making the same error. And come on, this is your one life. It's time for you to start paying attention to you. Okay? The false loyalty to everybody else. Accept yourself. Come on. It's time to dump it. The false guilt. Whenever you try to put yourself first and then you feel so guilty, you think you're doing something wrong. You think, because we've all been trained in some ways to say, we've been trained along the lines of, if you feel guilty, it's because your conscience is telling you that you're doing something wrong. The question you haven't asked yourself is, who programmed your conscience? Who programmed your conscience? Your conscience was probably created way before you were 7 years old by the very people who want you to continue playing the role of caretaker, of peacemaker, of being all things to all people. And so you think that because you feel guilty, that that must mean you're doing something wrong, when actually you feel guilty because you've been told that unless you are laying down your life for every single other person in your life, then you are doing wrong. But it's not truth. So no, you cannot blindly follow your conscience. I'm sorry, but you can't. Whatever anybody tells you, you cannot blindly follow your conscience, because you must question who programmed your conscience, who told you what was right and wrong, that you took on and believed, and now you're still living to. So yes, false guilt can be controlling you based on a falsely programmed conscience that you think is the truth. It's not the truth. You haven't taken any time since you were 7 years old to really look at, why do I feel guilty about wanting to make myself a priority in my own freaking life? Why do I feel guilty about saying no for certain things instead of continually saying yes all of the time? Why do I have this false sense of responsibility for people who are capable of taking care of themselves? Honey, come on now. You don't always understand that it is false guilt, false loyalty, false responsibility, because you've been programmed to believe that all guilt is based on the truth that you're doing something wrong. It's not true. Guilt is generally just based on a conscience that has been programmed by somebody who wanted you to feel guilty if you didn't do what they wanted you to do. Most people calling you selfish if you choose to put yourself first is because you're not doing what they want you to do, not because you're actually selfish. And sometimes divine selfishness is absolutely necessary. In fact, it is always necessary. It is always necessary. It is always necessary for you to be, when I say selfish, I mean, yeah, put yourself first. You will actually make more of a difference, have more of an impact when you start taking care of yourself and really owning what your true design, mission, vision, purpose is, because then you will be fulfilled, you will be happy, you'll have more energy, you can do whatever you like with whoever it is that you want to help. But continually denying yourself and then trying to use a limited form of energy to lay your life down for everybody else, it doesn't help you and it doesn't help them. It doesn't help you and it doesn't help them. Are you done with playing this game with yourself? You are not responsible for anybody else's happiness, okay? No matter who they are, no matter how sacred the relationship is to you, again, everybody is responsible for their own happiness. You are not responsible for your parents or the choices they have made. This is such an important one. You are not responsible for your parents or the choices they have made. So the choices they have made about your siblings, you are not responsible for those choices. You are not responsible for that stuff. You are nobody's insurance policy, no matter how guilty they may make you feel when you do not act like their insurance policy. And this one is a hard one for particularly ethnic minorities who really do feel as if you are supposed to be responsible for your parents. And in fact, as you might be listening to me and thinking, oh, yes, it's the guilt, the selfishness of the West or something that Rosemary is trying to teach us. And yet you are trying to ignore the fact that every day you are going through your life feeling empty, feeling drained, feeling fed up, that you are not living to the fullness of your potential, fed up of all the demands that people have on you and that they think they have a right to. But you are the one allowing this to continue being your story. I was listening to something recently where, yeah, a lot of self-help people kind of talk about this idea of putting yourself first rather than the program we've all had of putting ourselves last. I remember singing the song, J-O-Y, J-O-Y, this is what it means. Jesus first, yourself last, and others in between. So you were always supposed to be last, Jesus first, others in between, or God first, and blah, blah, blah. Whereas I'm proposing a whole different way of living here, where it's you and the divine a priority in your life. Even the divine isn't more of a priority than you are to yourself. Come on. I'm sorry. And this may shock you a little bit to hear, depending on how you were brought up. But you and the divine are one. It's not divine first, then you, and then others. None of that nonsense. Your life, connect to the divine. Connect within yourself. Because, as I said, if you've been betraying yourself all these years, there's going to be a certain amount of self-love that is required for you to become one within, instead of this inner war of, are you listening to me? Can you hear me? And you continually telling yourself that you are just not that important. There's some healing work to be done here, where you bring those parts of you, those frozen parts of you that you have buried for so long, and start bringing them up and loving them again, reparenting yourself in connection with the divine, so that you become whole again, and you start seeing clearly, what is my purpose? What am I here on this planet to do? Not this caretaker, peacemaker, protector of everybody else kind of role thing. No. What is your true design? What is your true design? You need, get your journal out and start writing. What do I want? What do I want? What do I need to start saying no to, instead of continually putting myself in a place of martyr, always saving the world kind of thing? There's this whole, when I'm teaching my clients, there's this whole drama triangle that I mentioned about being, and a lot of you live in this martyr savior area of the triangle, and you switch between that to victim of everybody else, because you are forever laying down your life for everybody else. I'm feeling like, after everything I've done for you, how can you do this to me? Or you become a what's the word? What is the word? A aggressor, a perpetrator. There's a particular word for it which I can't remember right now. But you go from being the savior of the world to feeling hard done by, so you're victimized by everybody, to feeling like you need to attack everybody because they're treating you badly and nobody's ever there for you, and blah 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 blah. And then you come back to, I'm trying to save the world, and you're playing this game with your life. And it's time. This is part of the underground. I've spoken about the underground. It's time to get out of the underground and go back up to your throne room and realize that you and the divine are one, and it is right that you stop living your life out of false duty to the people in your life. Everyone is powerful in their own right. Except, yes, a lot of people talk about this. A lot of people, I can't tell you the number of clients that have come to work with me. And then when I start suggesting these simple little, listen, you need to start saying no in these little areas. And it's really difficult to do. Why? Because it takes courage to say no when you've always been saying yes. It takes courage to allow other people to be disappointed in you because you're no longer willing to do what it is that they want you to do. It takes courage, but this is your one life. Will you finally allow yourself to live it? Okay? You no longer need to play those roles of being caretaker or peacemaker. You don't. These are the roles that you took on as a child. You no longer need to live by them. You can bury those now. You are not a martyr. You are creator of your own reality. And, you know, right now you've created a reality where you are always last in your own life. Well, recreate it, reinvent yourself. It starts today. It starts today. Start putting yourself first. You will actually be of more service to those you're called to serve, including your loved ones, when you are finally giving yourself what you need. The transition, however, it's not comfortable. People are used to you always saying yes. When you start saying no, they ain't gonna like it. You will feel guilty. I already said, I explained to you where that guilt is coming from. Just because you feel guilty doesn't actually mean that you're doing something wrong. It just means that you're so used and you've been programmed to act in a certain way, so you're going against that programming, and so you've been programmed to feel guilty, hoping that it will bring you back into line. Enough. It's time to start asserting yourself, asking for what you want, expecting to get it. And if the person in front of you doesn't want to get it, you ask the next person. You do not give up on yourself anymore. You get what you want out of life. This is your life. Do you get it? Do you get this is your life? Are you going to continually allow other people to steal your life? It's time to unburden your future. It's time to take back dominion from duty, seriously, to choice, freedom, to freely live your life, to be you, to recognize that you are fully, completely loved by the divine. But the question is, are you loving yourself? Are you loving yourself enough to allow yourself to live your life? So I know love can sometimes feel like a wishy-washy, woo kind of term, or self-love seems almost like narcissism. No, it's not. It's not selfish to love yourself, my loves. It is necessary, absolutely necessary. And in fact, I don't even know how you can love somebody else when you don't really love you. Really, what you're giving to them, it's some kind of warped version of love that just ends up with everybody just kind of stealing energy from each other, thinking that there's a limited amount of energy that everybody has to share, and so you're all just stealing from it. It becomes ugly, and you know it because you feel the games, the relationship games you sometimes play with the people around you. Well, it's time to opt out. It's time to opt out. You've already given enough of your life. Seriously, you've given enough of your life. You were doing it even before you were 7 years old, for goodness sake. You grew up way before your time. And now it's time to take your life back. It will take courage. You will need support because you're so used to living in a certain way and thinking in a certain way. You don't even know when the way you're thinking, it's really just depleting you. You need support. I really urge you to get a copy of my book, Remove the Blocks, okay? The link is in my bio or it's around this video right now. Come into my world. And then when I invite you deeper into my community, come into the community because you need the support of other ambitious spiritual people. Because again, sometimes you don't know when you're literally hurting yourself. Aren't you done? Are you going to finally allow yourself to be happy? Are you going to finally allow yourself to live to the fullness of your potential? Enough trying to pay some debt to people that you feel responsible for. You are not responsible for anybody else. Okay? Enough. It's time to put yourself on the throne of your life. It's time to take back dominion over your own life. It was always yours. You just kind of gave it away to the agendas of other people. You grew up before your time. And now it's time for you to take your life back. Are you ready? Are you willing? Get a copy of my book, Remove the Blocks. It's either in the link in my bio or it's around this video or this audio, depending on how you're listening to this. Enough betraying yourself. Much amazing love, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to start putting yourself at the forefront of your own life? I hope so. Much amazing, amazing love. Bye.